TGIF! Thank God it's Friday. And not just your regular Friday. This Friday happens to be a very special one. I'm talking about Valentine's Eve, a day to Lovers' Day. Or is it Couples' Day? Anyway, we do apologize for coming some minutes behind time. And welcome, dear esteemed viewers, to our Friday's edition of Dawn, your perfect morning show on air. My name is Felicia Udeji, and we have a very special Valentine's package for you this morning. So to find out what that package is, ensure you stay till the very end of the show. I'm not alone in the studio. I'm with my colleague, the one and only Jude Aweke.
Good morning, Felicia Udeji. How are you doing this morning?
This
one you are talking about Valentine. It's like you have sugar boy that want to spoil you after me. I don't have. So
Valentine is a day of love. You don't need to have a special somebody to spoil. If you don't have, listen, for you singles out there, if you don't have the special somebody, spoil yourself. You are special now. Are you not? Okay, so this morning we'll be quickly moving on to our newspaper review for this morning. We'll take a quick break, and when we'll come back, we'll start off with the newspaper.
Stay tuned.
Come back, viewers. It is still Dawn on VOS TV, the morning breakfast show where we bring you up to speed on current issues happening around the globe, around Nigeria, and of course around Edo State. We'll be starting off with the Vanguard newspaper. Yes, looking at the headlines making rounds in the Vanguard newspaper. At the very top, it says power outage looms amid scheduled power plant maintenance. Yes, the power plant is about to be maintained because some megawatts, according to the report, dropped in the power plant. Then another one says US accuses Chinese miners of funding terrorists in Nigeria. US accuses Chinese miners of funding terrorists in Nigeria. And moving on, ADC should consider Southerner for 2027 presidency. Who is making that statement? That statement is coming from Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State and also the former minister of transportation. And the other one says INEC seeks 873 billion for 2027 polls, proposes 1.71 billion naira 2026 budget. And I would like to look at the screaming headline there, which says, "My father treated corruption as emergency, not talking point." That statement is coming from Aisha Mohammed Oyebode. Yes, talking about the daughter of the former head of state, Murtala Mohammed. Today makes it 50 years since he was assassinated as the head of state. And yes, she is talking on behalf of our father, a man who left a great legacy there. And there are other headlines on the Vanguard newspaper, so do well to grab a copy and check it out for yourself. We'll quickly move over to our next newspaper before we talk about the headlines making rounds. Yes, talking about the Guardian newspaper. Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper and see what's the talking point in the Guardian newspaper this morning. So the first headline there says Murtala at 50. African leaders trade blames over continent wars. Genotocracy. Murtala at 50. African leaders trade blames over continent wars. Genotocracy. That is found on page 3 of The Guardian. And OPEX tax takes over 90% of NNPL's 60.5 trillion 2025 revenue as Otedola predicts Naira rebound. So the billionaire businessman there is predicting that the Naira will rise again. We really hope to see that. We really hope to see that. And that's found on page 3 as well of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on, we must outgrow disregard for rule of law, says El-Rufai after attempted arrest. Well, that one really shook the news yesterday, the drama that happened at Murtala Mohammed Airport. And the screaming headline on The Guardian this morning says National Assembly tightens grip on public finances amid 2027 election funding debate. National Assembly tightens grip on public finances amid 2027 election funding debate. And the last one I'll be taking right now, Senate speaking, real-time results transmission does not translate to e-voting. That's the Senate speaking there, that real-time transmission of election results does not mean that we are going to be voting electronically. And I'd like to start the conversation from there. Jude, this is the Senate coming out to clarify that, because according to them, some quarters of the opinion that now that we are transmitting results electronically, that it means that we are voting electronically. So the Senate are coming out to clarify that this is no way meaning that Nigeria is ready for e-voting.
The question I want to ask now, is the Senate the electoral umpire to decide? Is the Senate INEC? Is it the duty of the Senate to decide how elections should be conducted?
But they work with INEC.
Yeah, they work with no, the modus of operation shouldn't be decided by them. You're talking about e-voting, that it doesn't translate to electronic voting. Oh, so there should be manual voting, so everything can be, altered.
Well, but do you think Nigeria is ready for e-voting?
Of course, yes, we are ready.
When we have technical glitches, when it has to do with network, INEC currently does not have its own network system. They rely on network providers.
Let me tell you,
and from what we experience, even as a media house, we know that these network providers fail sometimes.
Let me tell you, all of these things that you see, they are not difficult. They are not difficult for us to handle. Reason being that some of these things are man-made, and we know those who are behind them. Yes, we know those who are behind them.
Interesting. Okay, I'd like to move on to the other headline that talks about INEC budget for the 2027 election. So I just want us to talk briefly on it. So totally, INEC is giving the Senate about 1 trillion naira budget for both the 2027 election, which is upcoming, and the 2026 by-election and off-circle elections. And some persons are like, this money is too much.
Too bogus. It is too, what do you need about 1 trillion naira for?
To conduct proper elections, they
Conduct proper elections.
Yes.
Felicia, you and I, we know. I watched Senator Adams Oshomole of Edo North Senatorial Districts questioning on the floor of the Senate that what does INEC need a hospital for? In that budget, they included hospital. That they need hospital. That Oshomole was questioning them. That are you operating health system? Okay. Are you in the health sector? What do you need that for?
Well,
you need INEC as an institution. You need a private hospital for yourself. You need hospital.
Well, we hope that
government should build hospitals.
INEC will sort that out with the Senate. But one thing I'm happy about is that for core members who will be engaged in the 2027 election, the allowances will be increased. According to the Senate, each core member will be receiving 125,000 naira when they are engaged as ad hoc staff. So I'm very sure that the core members hearing this news right now will be very excited and will be anticipating the 2027 election. So that's all on our newspaper review for this morning. Coming up next is our discussion segment. Do not touch that dial.
Country people, now VOS TV Naija be the koko. We dey into ogbonge news, whether na political news or political rally for your party. We stand gidigba. Not be only that one, oh, we dey cover all kinds of events: birthday party, wedding party, burial ceremony coverage, graduation ceremony. We dey even do inter-sport event coverage wey go showcase your school to many people, even if na to cover national sport. Also for your church event, anniversary, crusade or harvest, we get professionals wey sabi this work well. VOS TV then dey tested, trusted and reliable. Una fit contact us for 82 First East Circular Road, Benin City, or make una call us for this number 080-2254-7837. Make una follow us on all our social media handle. If una dey think the best, think VOS TV Naija. VOS TV Naija, the right news for all. My country people, now VOS TV Naija be the koko. We dey into ogbonge news.
Hello, thanks for still being there. Thanks for staying tuned. Now, welcome to the discussion segment of the program. Today, we'll be taking a look at U.S. troops in Nigeria, its implications. Yes, as we all know, Nigeria has over the years been vexed with insecurity, insurgency, terrorism that has worsened the situation of the country, with many killed, communities displaced, and billions of naira spent in the fights against insurgency. You know, the fight against insurgency recently caught the attention of the global world when U.S. President Donald Trump declared Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged Christian genocide in the country. The president of U.S. reduced the conflict Nigeria is facing to Christian genocide. Though the government refuted it, the Nigerian government refuted it, claiming that the context of what is happening in Nigeria is not religious. Yes, so the refutation, however, led to diplomatic crosshair with the U.S. And this diplomatic crosshair led to partnership between the Nigerian government and the U.S. government, partnership to nip the tide of insurgency in the country. And as a result of this, the U.S. government recently deployed 200 troops to Nigeria to help in training of Nigerian forces in the fight against insecurity, to nip the tide of insecurity in the country. So today we'll be taking a look at the implications of U.S. troops in Nigeria. I'm not here in the studio all alone. I'm joined here in the studio by Barrister Richard Ofemu. Barrister Richard Ofemu was a former local government chairman in Edo State. Barrister Richard Ofemu.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome on the program.
And good morning to our viewers at home.
Yeah. So let's establish first, where has Nigeria gotten it wrong in its fight against insecurity in the country over the years?
Dating back, let's just go back to memory lane, since the time of Metasine in the Dembonu state. I think after that it evolved into what you now have as the Boko Haram, led by Mohammed Yusuf. One will remember during that period, it was during the period when President Yar'Adua was president of Nigeria. And I can remember that during that period, the military did go to the president and asked for a permit that there should be what you call shoot on sight. That is when you meet these insurgents, all these terrorists, that once they are caught, that they be shot on sight. I think we remember during that time that Mohammed Yusuf was duly arrested, interrogated by the military and handed over to the police, and the police shot him on sight. And I think after that period, Boko Haram set, they sort of dispersed but went into hiding. But thereafter that they consolidated, and renewed their and renewed their activities in Nigeria. So that is why you have today a resurgence of Boko Haram group in Nigeria that has one way or the other, start to limit the global respect for Nigeria and the economic, growth of the Nigerian society.
So in this fight against insurgency, where have we gotten it wrong? Because this has been lasting over several years, billions spent. We see communities that have been sacked and they are still sacking more.
Yeah, we need to be able to look at before we can say, where did the Nigerian government get it wrong? They say it's teaching time saves 9. When this problem started to germinate, when it started to grow, one would expect that the government at that time should have been able to nip it in the bud. And there are a lot of activities. In the country, if you look at it, the constitution of this country, one way or the other, guaranteed the Sharia law. That is in certain aspect of it. So if you look at these people that, the perpetrators of these insurgents. So though in your opening you did mention, yes, the American government, that is Donald Trump, tried to, relate it and said that, well, it was Christian genocide in Nigeria. And the Nigerian government, one way or the other, tried to say that it was not the situation, because what happens, both Christians and Muslims are being killed. But most importantly, for us to be able to actually know, is to say, who are the people really involved in it? Are there Christians among the insurgents? Are there what they call it, people that are not, that is to say, they practice traditional religion? Are they part of these insurgents? Who are the people perpetrating this insurgency? So that will bring us to it. So it brings about some kind of religious aspect of it.
Coloration.
The coloration, that you can't one way or the other have two set of laws running in a country. And when this set of people become radicalized, just as you have some, even in Christianity itself, you also have some people too that are fanatical about their religion. So you also have in Islam, you also have some people that are also fanatical about their religion and have various sects. And I think we should have been able to cure it right from a constitutional base. That is to say, right from the word go, we shouldn't have, Nigeria being a state that permits both religion, should have been able to come out and say the only law in this country, they should not have allowed Sharia law to continue in the country, where you have two sets of laws running in the country. Right. That should have been the first start of it, how to curb this insurgency.
All right, now
which government didn't do.
Yes, now let's delve into the crux of the discourse. Now, many have argued that the U.S. deployment of its troops to Nigeria is a step in the wrong direction, while others, they see it as a welcome development. What do you think?
I think it's a welcome development. It's the commencement of a collaborative effort in terms of trying to allay the security challenges in Nigeria. I see it, they having just 200 men to come in Nigeria, to come into the country. Their aim is honestly to come and train our military. They will also use the period to also gather information on how they think terrorism can be combated in Nigeria. So without necessarily having what you call military information, you would not be able to do much. And I think their presence here in Nigeria will honestly help too in training our military officers, and also in the use of the equipment which the American government has generously given to Nigeria. So
intelligence seems to be the focus of this partnership. and training as well.
Yes,
So
without intelligence, you will not be able to do much.
yes, why has the country, Nigeria as a country, why is it that we failed over the years to build reliable intelligence system, despite billions of naira, that have been allotted to the defense ministry?
Yeah, Nigeria has really spent a lot of money in trying to combat insurgency. But the root cause of insurgency had not really been tackled. Initially when I started, I was saying to you that it has a religious coloration. And you discover that even within the military itself, they have been infiltrated by people, this religious coloration. There is certain. Let's take an instance. I want to tell you, I had somebody, one of my sons, one of his friends was a flight officer in the Air Force, a pilot for that matter. Some time ago, you discover that the military asked him at a point to go and pick up bombs. And he led the squad. But in going, as he was going, information was given to the insurgents. After they have carried the bombs, as they were coming back to come and load them, they shot at the vehicle carrying the bombs. The bomb exploded and killed all of them. So the point I'm saying is that even within the military setup themselves, that's why it has been difficult to fight them. They have been infiltrated by insurgents. Infiltrated in the sense that most of them still believe that a fight against the terrorists is a fight against their religious belief. That is part of the problems.
So does this foreign military presence in Nigeria, build capacity, or it will expose institutional weakness within the Nigerian armed forces? Do you think it will build capacity?
I think since the American government, since Donald Trump started to get involved in the fight against insecurity in Nigeria, you can see there's a lot of dynamism in terms of approach to the fight against insurgency. I would say too that the presence of this American military experts, so to speak, in Nigeria, will certainly, they are experts in their own ways. They'll be able to study the situation on ground and be able to give the appropriate advice that will lead to a proactive action. But it's going to take quite a lot of times. You see these insurgents come in, it's like as if we are being invaded. They are not just, most of them are not Nigerians. Most of them come from the West African and Sahel regions, migrating to this country. So you discover now that it's not difficult for people to even move freely. You remember a situation that happened just in Kwara a few days ago, when Goro community, a set of insurgents just went into the community for over 5 hours, 5 to 10 hours, they were there. They slaughtered more than 200 persons like rams.
There was no proactive response.
There was no proactive response.
From the military.
The military are getting overstretched. If they tell you the number of Nigerian officers and soldiers that have died in the course of fighting Boko Haram, in the fight that even died because of ambush, they are going to fight Boko Haram and information is leaked to the Boko Haram set and they ambush them and kill them, you will marvel.
But doesn't this raise questions that in a community, insurgents will operate for more than 10 hours without response from the military? More than 10 hours.
Yeah. It's sad because if you also look at it, these military people fighting, how many of them are insured? They have parents. If you go to the barracks, you see number of cars parked there, you discover that most of them are gone to the battlefront, you discover their wives are there, their children are there, and you don't see them any longer. Most of them perhaps have died in the battleground. So they themselves too needs to also, one way or the other, be assured that something will happen to their to their children. I mean, they'll be taken care of. All soldiers needs to be insured.
So sometimes the delays, they are planned.
Yeah, they are human beings too. They have, though they have sworn to defend the integrity of this country, but they are also part of this society. They have blood flowing in their veins. They didn't just sign to just go to join the army that you must be killed. Because the army itself, you know, when you join the army, it's for you to go and defend what they call the external integrity of this country. Not necessarily even doing what the police are even supposed to be doing. That's internal security in the country. And in doing this, the technology ought to be involved. You don't just, the number of soldiers that have died, I think it's more than, you can't count them. I think it's more than that died during the Biafran War that we have in this country. People are dying every day. So because of it, you discover that when through the military are going to confront these insurgents, they are there, you know, operating in a community, and you expect them to go, and the type of equipment they have, the type of what they call it, guns that they have, is inferior to those that the insurgents have. A situation where you have the insurgents using rocket launchers to fight, and you are going there with AK-47 to fight. So you discover it doesn't make sense. Whereas a lot of money had been budgeted for equipment, for military equipment and warfare. That's part of the issues. If you cannot go and fight somebody with superior weaponry with empty hands. So it's just like what happens when normally you see armed banditry, they are robbing somewhere, the police will go there after the armed bandits have left and start to trace them. So it's sad for our country. So a lot needs to be done. At least what they call it, an emergency ought to be declared for security in this country.
Yeah, you know, you've seen the deployment of the U.S. troops to the country as a welcome development.
Yes. In trying to foster and consolidate intergovernmental collaboration.
Yes, a lot of critics, they've argued that you know, the terms of the cooperation, the partnership between the U.S. and the Nigerian government in this fight against insurgency has remained unknown. So there's kind of fear that this is likely to degenerate to, you know, that there is interest on the part of the U.S. Government trying to assist Nigeria because the terms of the cooperation is not known.
At the time, if we are Christians, at the time when you cry to God, there's a time that God will say, I've heard your prayers. In Nigerian society, the Christians in this country, you need to see have you not seen what happened in Yewalta? When more than 200 persons were slaughtered in one day. These people, at least, the world now is a global society. What happens here in Nigeria, most times, is heard all over the world. So, the American government, one way or the other, have been hearing the cries of many groups in Nigeria that have been calling, oh, this thing is getting too much. There's genocide in this country. I think the American coming, they have not come to Nigeria to say we are setting up a military base. What they are doing here is that, okay, this issue of Americans, even people coming from other countries to train as soldiers, is not something that just started now. We have people, Indians, we have had even Nigerian soldiers going abroad for military training. So it's not a new thing. Any person just trying to say, oh, fine, the American government may have an interest other than trying to help Nigeria, well, I don't know where that is coming from.
Not the parliament, the Nigerian parliament, the people were not consulted before this partnership between the governments and the U.S. government, Nigerian government and the U.S. government?
Well, military, most times, security issues are issues that are, are wrapped in absolute secrecy, most of the times. So, and I think as a result of intelligence, the Americans couldn't have come to Nigeria. In fact, what happened in Sokoto when there was a bomb, when they bombed the ISIS enclave in Sokoto, the Americans didn't do it alone. There must be intelligence report and collaborative efforts between them and the Nigerian forces to do that. Yes, there are certain situations that are cause for emergency, which the president can take action on, can do, without necessarily, it's not a war. It's not a proclamation of war. It's something that constitutionally he has sworn to defend the internal integrity of Nigeria against external, aggressions. So if you took any act based on maybe a report of the security agencies, like the national, what they call it, DSS and other security apparatus within the country, and they have met and the military itself and say, okay, yes, let's take this. I think they can always, I think it's part of its function. Without necessarily, it's not a declaration of war. It's a collaborative effort which has been happening between them. The Americans didn't just come do it alone. They did it with the Nigerian military. That's in my opinion.
Now, recently the U.S. government placed some key figures in Nigeria, including Kwankwaso, Meiti Allah group, and others. They placed them on U.S. visa ban over alleged complicit in Nigeria insurgency. What do you think the Nigerian government should do at this point?
It depends on how the American government, on what basis they place those people under, what is it, a visa ban?
Yes.
And the watch over them. I remember many years ago, I think the Saudi Arabia government some time ago came out with a list of certain persons they suspected to be sponsors of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Even at the time, I think, was it not President Goodluck Jonathan that even said some of them are even in his government? How many of these suspects within Nigeria have been arraigned or interrogated? People that is sponsors of Boko Haram. They can't, these Boko Haram people coming in from the West African states and the others, or the ISIS as they stand, cannot be operating in Nigeria freely without collaboration of certain persons within Nigeria. So honestly, that there are some sponsors within the Nigerian segment. All I will say is that, well, let the American government or the Nigerian government, let them do due diligence in terms of those people that are being profiled as being sponsors of Boko Haram in the country. Not necessarily the names that have been sent. There were quite a number of persons that are involved in it in Nigeria. There need to be a serious check, a serious in-depth profiling of those people they think are sponsors of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Not just profiling them, let the law take appropriate actions against such persons. I've not seen how many persons that had been one way or the other fingered to be sponsors of Boko Haram within the Nigerian state that had been maybe sent to court or dealt with in a manner, which the law allows in Nigeria.
Now, at a time we are having, people complicit in the fight against insurgency here in Nigeria. Do you think that the U.S.-Nigeria collaboration, that the U.S. will be able to, effectively, should I say, win the war At a time we have people that are complicit, even eternally, in the country. So what do you now suggest? Do you think that there is need for the U.S. government, to work independently?
Yeah, that is also a difficult thing. That would have been most advisable for them to work independently. But how much knowledge do they have about
because this has
terrain?
To do with now sabotage.
Yes, a lot of sabotage within the military. A lot of sabotage within the group fighting the terrorist group. There was an instance, somebody related to me, though I can't say facts and figures, that they were going to Sambisa forest to go and fight Boko Haram and the general that was in charge of the operation then asked every person to put down their phones. In fact, they should put down their phones and open their phones, and they started to hear phone calls coming. Oh, this is how we are trying to find out how they are moving, how their movement is. So there's a lot of people collaboration within them. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, changing the mindset of our military. And two, part of the problem, you say certain persons were in Boko Haram, you have de-radicalized them, and you are bringing them into the military. So how do you expect? So they are still loyal to what they do. So they keep on giving information and sabotaging the efforts. So, well, the American soldiers being in Nigeria, one will expect them, yes, as much as possible, they still be able to filter those genuine people within the military within which they can work with, because they will not honestly be able to do it alone.
All right.
And I don't expect them even involving in infantry war as it is now.
All right, Barrister Ofemu, just before we go, because the time is fast spent,
Thank you.
How do you think we can, effectively win the war against insurgents in Nigeria? Just before we go.
How we can effectively win the war? Well, it's for all Nigerians to see it as a canker one that needs to be resolved. That needs one way or the other to be dealt with. Or it needs collaborative, efforts. Because even in communities, when you see people stream to the communities, some of them know these people. We hear that somebody like, it's not Bello Tunju, they called him at a time, certain communities were giving him a chieftaincy titles. So if they know these people, and there's some communities in Katsina, I heard too that some of them were coming up and they are now getting money, they pay taxes to them and they give them money for them to be able to protect them. So they know them. So if these communities, everybody in Nigeria is ready to come together and fight insurgency, I think we will go a long way. So we will need to be able to do a lot of things. Our Ministry of Information needs to do quite a lot in re-engineering society, making people know that this is a problem for all citizens in this country, that if there are certain persons, they'll be exposed to the law enforcement agents and appropriate actions taken against them.
Thank you, Barrister Richard Ofemu, for your contributions on the program.
Thank you so much.
It's a nice time having you on the program.
Thank you very much. Bless you so much. Thank you.
All right. And that is where we round off the program. We'll be taking a look at U.S. troops in Nigeria, its implications in the war against insurgency in the country. Yes, thank you for joining us on the program. Do well to use the comment section to share your thoughts on the topic of discourse, and also don't forget to like and comment. We'll take a short break and we'll return sports segment to wrap off the program. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
People. Now VOS TV Naija be the koko. We dey into ogbonge news, whether na political news or political rally for your party. We standa gidigba. No be only that one oh, we dey cover all kinds of events: birthday party, wedding party, burial ceremony coverage, graduation ceremony. We dey even do inter-sport event coverage wey go showcase your school to many people, even if na to cover national sport. Also for your church event, anniversary, crusade or harvest, we get professionals wey sabi this work well. VOS TV dem dey tested, trusted and reliable. Una fit contact us for 82 First East Circular Road, Benin City, or make una call us for this number 080-2254-7837. Make una follow us on all our social media handle. If una dey think the best, think VOS TV Naija.
All right, welcome to the sports segment of our morning show program. Of course, you know that sport is always exciting, and of course, we have a lot of exciting stories making round in the world as far as sport is concerned. This particular point in time. So let's start from the home scene, where there is a growing confidence within the Nigerian Super Eagles Federation that the Super Eagles could receive another lifeline in their bids to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, as the country awaits FIFA verdict on a protest against DR Congo over an alleged ineligibility of some of its players. Nigeria hopes of reaching the tournaments in the United States, Canada and Mexico were rekindled following a protest by the NFF alleging that DR Congo feeded ineligible players during the qualifiers. The Intercontinental Playoff are scheduled to take place from March 26 to 31st in Mexico, where DR Congo have been drawn to face the winner of the tie between New Caledonia and Jamaica for a place in the World Cup slot. Still on the national team, Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell has been linked with the vacant managerial position at French League One club Olympique Marseille. The 48-year-old Malian coach is among the names shortlisted for the vacancy. The Zerbi left Marseille on a mutual agreement after a heavy 5-0 loss to PSG and a disappointing Champions League exit. Under Eric Chell leadership, the Super Eagles finished third at the just concluded African Cup of Nations. Eric Chell was seen at Olympique Marseille Stadium during a Copa de France match that fueled speculation about his potential move. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Football Federation has debunked the reports, noting that Eric Chell is committed to the Nigeria football national team and plans are underway to even extend his contract. Still within the shore of Nigeria, exciting news is coming from Spain, as Barcelona have relaunched their pursuit of Nigerian Super Eagles striker, talking about Victor Osimhen, and are preparing a renewed approach for Galatasaray forward. The Catalan giant view the Nigerian international as a natural successor to veteran striker Robert Lewandowski, whose role is gradually scaling down. Osimhen emerged as one of Europe's most consistent goal scorers since 2022-2023 campaign, where he won the Serie A title and also finished as the top scorer. However, his current employers, Galatasaray, are in no rush to lose their most valuable assets. The Turkish Champions League remain firmly on course for the domestic double. Still within the Nigeria shore, yes, hostility will return to the Nigeria Professional Football League this weekend in the match day 26. Yes, Barao FC will kick off the week 26 schedule as they will take on Kun Khalifa FC. Of course, that game will take place tomorrow. And then, of course, on Sunday, Economy Warriors will host Plateau United. Castina United will square up against Nasarawa United. Eyimba FC of Aba will take on Ikorodu City. Of course, it's going to be a South-South derby between Bayelsa United and, of course, our own Bende Insurance. Remo Stars FC will take on Abia Warriors. Shooting Stars, of course, we take on Warri Wolves. Kwara United will take on Kano Pillars, while Rangers International will trade tackles with Wiki Tourist of Benue. And then let's move outside the shore of Nigeria. Yes, yesterday Atletico Madrid trashed the Spanish giants Barcelona 4-0 in the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final clash. Atletico Madrid took the lead after 7 minutes when Barcelona goalkeeper conceded an own goal with a slip on the ball. Former Barca striker Griezmann doubled the lead a minute later to give the home side a comfortable lead. Nigerian international Ademola Lookman stayed home the third goal at the end of a fine team move. Alvarez, who had failed to score in his last 11 matches, ended his drought with the first goal. Both sides will meet for the second leg in Camp Nou on the 2nd of March. That's where we are going to draw the curtain for this segment of the show. Of course, the morning show continues with Jude Aweke. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Austin Ayeni, for exposing us to stories that are making wave in the world of sports. Thank you very much. All right, that is where we round off the program today. Don't forget to join us tomorrow, same time. Don't forget to join us next week, Monday, because it's a weekly program, a daily program that holds Monday to Friday. Yes, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you for joining us on Dawn. Bye for now.